available unit possible to this location, okay? Every available. We've got two sides, they're both about to go, it's clearly outnumbered.
Police were outnumbered, certainly in fear of themselves getting hurt.
Why has this occurred? They've got this viewpoint now that they don't need to worry about the police.
Two former senior police officers with very different views on the bikie war.
I said this needs strong legislation and an additional manpower that we simply don't have down there at the coast at the moment.
I wasn't a fan of the Vlad laws that were brought in. I thought they were ineffective, and the data shows that I think they achieved very little.
Jim Keogh led the police response following the Broadbeach brawl.
They're there in colours, they're there in mass, they're there in strength, and they're there with violence. So to remove that was going to need something very substantial. When I was first asked would I go back down there, and I said no. And my rationale there was I don't want to go back and give political rhetoric to say, oh, we're on top of this, etc. And we're not on top of it at all. And certainly somebody's going to get killed. And there I would have looked quite stupid saying we're on top of it.
But with a commitment of stronger laws and an additional 100 officers, it didn't take long for Jim to hit the ground.
What we're actually discovering from Cairns to Coolangatta to Mount Isa was substantial. The Gold Coast obviously had become the crime capital of Queensland, if not Australia, for drugs, party drugs. And everybody wanted a piece of the action, everybody wanted a piece of the turf. It was the territorial warfare had already started. And so with Hell's Angels coming down here to stamp their mark in the area of the Finks, the warfare had begun. And so simply an affront into Broadbeach by the Finks caused the banditos to react. The Finks control the security in and around Surfers Paradise in relation to the nightclub industry, but that was more of a facade to actually control the drug trade there. And that went on for a number of years. And here there was about to be some encroachment into this particular area. Look, they were certainly harsh laws, but the situation that was confronting not simply the police, but the community here on the Gold Coast was harsh. The Gold Coast image would have been tarnished and never recovered. Tourism, the tourism mecca for Australia, the Gold Coast, would have suffered immense and irreparable damage as a result of serious injury. So going forward with the legislation was in fact a no-brainer. It sent a message to the whole of Australia that this will remain a safe place and that the government will support the police, the government will support the community in maintaining it as a safe place.
You know, I think that's just driven them underground to a large extent. The number of bikie members in Australia is actually growing. My name's Terry Goldsworthy. I'm Associate Professor at Bond University, working in the criminal justice and criminology field. So my background is 28 years in the Queensland Police Service. They're one percenters, they call themselves one percenters, and literally in terms of crime, they are one percenters, and that's been borne out by two government inquiries where they looked at organised crime and bikies in particular, and they were less than 1%. So the point is there, if they're less than 1% of your drug trafficking offences, then who are the other 99%? And what are you doing about them? We go, well, you're targeting a person because of who that person is. You're not targeting the person because of what they're doing. And I think that's a lot of wasted resources, a lot of wasted time, that perhaps if they invested that time into focusing on those who are committing the high-level organised crime, then you're not going to worry about two guys, you know, as we've seen initially with the Vlad laws, etc., two broken down old bikies with their girlfriend out at a pub out west who, you know, would be flat out doing any organised crime activity, but the amount of time and effort and money put into that was simply phenomenal.